This year, my parents planned a beach trip for June, assuming I would take the car as I did last year, but I declined. I told them I would drive myself, pay for my own hotel accommodation, and have my own room. My parents were shocked and tried to remind me of the cost, but I assured them not to worry as I have a good job and a well-functioning car, and I can fully afford it. At that moment, my sister started to get angry. I listed the previous incidents and explained why I would drive myself and pay the expenses. I hope to enjoy this holiday as an adult, not being treated like a child as I was last year. My parents told my sister, who called me furious, saying that if I do things on my own, I would ruin the holiday because she would have to take care of her 3 children. In the end, I yelled at her that last year all she did was to involve me in her chaos, and I didn't get to do many things I wanted, being treated as the bad guy for wanting to visit an art gallery. I am an adult, and I deserve my own holiday. Now my sister is not talking to me, and my parents are still trying to persuade me to take the car with them to keep the peace. I still refuse, but the pressure is starting to make me uneasy. Am I being an asshole for not giving in? I know they will have a hard time when there is no other person to help. It was less than an hour after I posted that my sister, who is obviously a Reddit lurker in the morning, saw my post. She was not only very angry with me, but also no one commented in support of her. In short, she talked a lot about how difficult it is to be a parent of triplets, and I should at least help because I am young and single, and she needs a break. I stick to my decision, and now she is calling our parents to intervene. I expect to receive their call at any time. Update: I am now off work, so I can say more about what happened. It can be said that everything is over. My sister let our parents intervene, and they were very shocked after seeing my post. Yes, they were very angry with me for posting here, but I told them that if they had listened to me from the beginning, I wouldn't have had to do this. I am tired of sacrificing myself to keep the peace and making me my sister's plate. They turned around and got angry with my sister. To make a long story short, the whole holiday was cancelled, the hotel was not booked yet, but my parents are quarreling with my sister blames me, my nephews are crying because they can't go to the beach. My sister called me at lunch, basically implying that I have no life, so I have time to help. I recorded this and told our parents, this is what they are arguing about. A small update: I didn't plan to update again, but there is still some here. Parents said they would never force me to look after my nephews again. They agreed that what happened last year was unfair to me. Now they are very angry because my sister told me I should help because she thinks I have no life. My sister plays the victim, and my brother-in-law basically says no to the whole mess, working most of the time. Thanks to everyone who commented, you made my day better. Update 1: My parents apologized, my sister didn't, at least not at first. A week ago, I created a temporary account to ask the question, am I an asshole? I found out that I am not at all. I have too much to say and can't post on, am I an asshole, so my friend recommended me to come here. My post on, am I an asshole, basically opened the Pandora's box of the family. Basically, my parents and sister have become very accustomed to me helping to take care of my 3 little nephews. I didn't leave home before I was 22 because I was trying to save money while going to college. A scholarship covered a lot, and living at home saved me from the ever-increasing debt due to part-time work. I am very grateful for this. However, after graduating from college, everyone seems to think I have a lot of time and persuaded me to go on a family vacation together. In this so-called holiday, I was forced to look after my 3 nephews who were 6 years old at the time. I even had to share a hotel room with them. Believe me, these children did not listen to anything I said at all, and it was not until I called their mother twice on the first night. I was treated as a bad person for wanting to do other things on the trip, as if it would not happen if it was not something everyone in the family liked, which is very hypocritical, because I am a member of the family and was not included in the vote. You can bet I raised this dissatisfaction to my parents after my last post. After that terrible holiday last year, I decided it was time to move out, and I did so before the end of summer, which surprised everyone because I did not give advance notice. I found a good job shortly after graduating from college, thanks to an internship opportunity, and I used moving as an excuse to reduce my commute time from 45 minutes to 15 minutes. My sister liked this the least because it meant no free babysitter on weekends, but she still tried to make me do it. I sometimes gave in, usually bribed with pizza, which became a new norm. But last month, my parents announced plans to go on vacation to the same place by the sea again, and they basically wanted things to go as they did last time. I immediately saw that this was a trap. I knew that if I took a car with my parents and let them buy the hotel room, I would be deceived as last time, so I just casually said I would drive myself and pay the expenses, and then the storm began. When my parents realized they could no longer deceive me as before, they began to almost beg, and my sister almost tried to make me go with the flow through gaslighting. News flash, I did not give in. At my sister's request, I made a post on, "Am I an asshole?" After a few days of harassment, then my sister somehow found this post in less than an hour. What happened next was Pandora's box. At first, the family was against me. My sister called our parents, they called me. When I still had a little time to talk in the morning, my parents talked to me on the phone and read my post at the same time. I asked them if there was any lie in the post. They kind of dodged the topic, saying the post was exaggerated, but I pointed out many details that made it very accurate. Then, I told them to check the comments were too many to read. I kept refreshing the page on the family computer, telling them how many comments there were. Then, I told them I was tired of them forcing me to be my sister's plate in order to keep the peace, and then I said I had no time, we would continue later. My parents were very shocked. Hundreds, if not thousands of people, commented in a few hours, and then I told them that the numbers basically doubled, and they were still growing, which only deepened their fear. So, I guess they were forced to take a closer look at their own behavior. My sister tried to call me while I was at work, but my phone was on silent until lunchtime, so all she could do was leave messages and text messages, but she persisted in getting through to me while I was having lunch. The point of the conversation was that our parents no longer supported her because of my post, and now they were very angry with her. In their dispute, my parents canceled the whole holiday. Yes, they later admitted that they were just shirking responsibility out of embarrassment and fully accepting the wrong. They told me that there was no excuse for them to justify making me their free babysitter, even though I no longer lived at home. They tried to turn back a little, pointing out that they never charged me rent when I was in college, but I reminded them that children did not ask to be born, and I was doing my best to go my own way at the time. I pointed out that my father also received the same help from his parents. They let him live at home for free while he was in college, which basically ended all my parents' arguments. When my sister managed to call me at lunch, I stated the facts to her, and she showed her true colors. She implied that I have no life, and my free time on weekends should be used to help her because she is tired, and she can't even go out with her children without someone looking after them. She is a full-time mother with a husband with a good income. They live in a fairly decent owned house, not rented, and frankly, my nephews are not my responsibility. They just forced me to accept it and expected this situation to continue. My sister hung up angrily, but I recorded the call and then played it to my parents. They were very angry, and basically went to war with my sister. My sister insisted on her position, blamed me, and then doubled down on her belief that my life should revolve around her. I told her that this is the most narcissistic and presumptuous thing she has ever said to me. After a few days, her husband finally intervened and forced her to apologize to me. I have never seen her so subdued by anyone, but she was about to cry. In the end, I admitted that one of the reasons I was a babysitter was because my sister did not trust strangers. It was never about money, or actually my brother-in-law thought my sister was paying me for babysitting her children, and after I moved out of my parents' house, she didn't even give me gas money, just enough cash to order pizza for ourselves and the children, and the rest in my pocket. My sister has been in arrears for several months. When he found out about this in her half-hearted apology, he was furious with her, and she was forced to pay me all the money in cash from her own savings, and she looked very unhappy. Then, my brother-in-law apologized to me for his inaction when my sister trampled on me, and promised that they would find a normal babysitter from now on. Yes, this will have a little impact on them, but my sister will regain date nights. Then there was a family meeting. A few nights ago, we all gathered at my parents' house, and everything was revealed. There were apologies everywhere and so on. Then, my parents resumed the family holiday. Yes, I still plan to drive myself, pay for my own hotel accommodation. I will even stay in a completely different hotel. If my sister tries to put me back in the state of child rearing, I have said it. She promised it would not happen, and if I do not update again about a month after the holiday, then you all know everything is fine. Update 2, my sister called me and asked me to delete my post. Now she is more upset than ever, knowing how far it has spread. There are disadvantages to having a family that knows your Reddit account. Yesterday, my sister called me after work and asked if I was still receiving comments. She said she herself could not bear to watch the negative emotions because the comments were very hurtful to her. So I was very frank, at least 10 comments still came in every day, and they all said more or less the same thing. She started crying and asked me to delete my Reddit post, but I refused and told her she could cry to anyone, but the post would remain, because they are my guarantee that she will not treat me like before. After all, she really thought my life should revolve around her, not paying me the babysitting fees I should have received, but taking them for herself, and forcing me to be a babysitter during last year's family holiday, so I hardly had any fun at all. Is it really strange that so many people hate her when she treated me like that? Then, when I mentioned that these posts have spread to other websites, because I was asked several times to allow an article to be written about my situation, and some videos were also read. My sister screamed and hung up when she heard this. My parents then called me and pleaded with me to delete the post. I refused and said that I did it just because they did not support me. If they had told my sister to treat me like an equal rather than a servant, none of this would have happened. I am not her housekeeper, babysitter, or odd job man, I am her damn brother, a grown man. Wouldn't they also be tired of this shit in my shoes? They agreed, but still pleaded with me to delete the post. I refused and said that if they did not start to support me more, would continue to make more. When my sister cried and went to them, let her clean up her own mess, because all the indulgence towards her led to this. I did not become the father of those children. I have my own life, I am still trying to move forward, I have a girlfriend I want to date soon. I am going to continue my life, and I will not be hindered. They either get out of the way or continue to try to indulge my sister, but I assure them that the latter will end badly for them. The only way to post on Reddit is if the drama stops. I have remained anonymous, and I have the right to vent my very reasonable frustration. Well, this made my mother cry, and my father became silent. I said tears can't move me, and they know what needs to be done to end this, which is to stop indulging my sister. Well, my sister called me again, yelling at me, saying that our parents told her they would no longer deal with this problem and let her solve it herself. Oh, they told her to be nicer to me. I just imagined her eyes twitching as she screams inside to be nice to my little brother. When I hung up the phone, my brother-in-law called me later to understand the situation on my side. He was angry that I was still posting and made my wife cry, but I explained everything to him, and he said he would talk to my sister again. I hope this drama will finally end here, but the family vacation is still going on at the end of June. I have already booked my room and applied for a day off so that we can all leave on Friday. My room is also not near the room my parents, Sister Bill, and nephews will use. In fact, it's not even on the same floor. When we go to the seaside, if it's not a family activity, I will go where I want to go and do what I want to do. You can rest assured that I will visit those art galleries, eat a lot of local food, and just enjoy a carefree life. Update 3, after the family vacation, some good things and bad things. The good thing is, as expected, my parents did not indulge my sister's attempt to make me look after the children. Oh, she did try. The bad thing is, my sister tried to find out which room I was staying in, but failed, and got her husband into trouble again. First of all, I made sure to tell the hotel in advance that they must not disclose any of my information to anyone who asks, except the police if necessary. They promised not to tell anyone on the phone, and then I left earlier than the rest of the family on the day of the vacation. I knew they couldn't leave as a group before at least 10 in the morning, so I left at 9 in the morning. Check-in was not until 1 in the afternoon, but I wanted to make sure I had a head start. I sent out a group text message and then set off like a bullet to make a 3-hour drive. My parents were not happy because they planned to have a family brunch on the way, but I pointed out that I was never informed, so it was cancelled and replaced with a fast food meal as I planned. I arrived at the hotel too early to check in, but I told the front desk staff that I was there to make sure my parents or sister did not give them my information. They claimed they would not do so, but I told them I know sometimes it does happen, so I was protecting my ass. When they happened to be dealing with my mother and sister and 3 possibly crying boys, trying to make them feel guilty at the front desk, they had better not give in. I wanted to ask if they tried anything. They awkwardly assured me that no one but me would enter my room. Then I decided to go out and get something to eat. I came back more than an hour later, and there was my parents' car and my sister's big SUV with the bill. I went to the front desk to check in, making sure the lobby was empty, and then I asked the clerk if my family had asked me where I was staying. Yes, they had, but the clerk refused to tell them. My sister obviously tried to push, but her husband told her to shut up. I checked in, went to my room, and then called my family. I didn't mention that I knew what they tried to do with the clerk, and they didn't conveniently mention it either. Then we gathered as a family to hang out. My sister once asked me to look after her children for a while, and I replied, hell no, because I knew exactly what she was doing. She would pretend to leave for a while, and then she would be gone for an hour. I exposed her, and her husband told her to stop trying to make me look after their children. What did my sister do? She started crying on the spot, saying she needed a break. Her husband blamed her. He was also a tired man, but he didn't complain. My mother gave me a fierce look, so I immediately said to her, if she tried to even think that I should look after those children, I would leave this family vacation immediately. This is not my job. I am tired of her and my sister acting as if it is. Well, this made my mother start crying too, and then she just kept repeating, "You're right," over and over again. This is her other old trick. She tries to look very pitiful to make me feel guilty, but I can only say I'm right, let it go, and then walk away. Neither my mother nor my sister tried anything for the rest of the time. When we returned to the hotel after dinner, my family was all squeezing into the elevator, but I didn't go in with them. They asked why, and I said I would wait for the next one. My sister glared at me because she knew exactly what I was doing. Then I just watched YouTube on my phone in the lobby for 15 minutes and took the elevator up. I was on a different floor, at the other end of the hotel. I had a great time, and the next morning we all went out for breakfast, but I made sure they left first. I was the last to leave, just like I was the last to arrive. Breakfast went smoothly, and then I sent out an FWI, saying I would do my own thing today. My mother tried to suggest plans to go to the aquarium and several other places, so I said I would meet them at those places, but the rest of the day was mine until the family dinner. They accepted, and the day went well too. However, when I returned to the hotel that night, my sister caught me leaving my room. She must have been following me around the floor, looking for me. I went back to my room to rest for a while because I was very tired from walking a lot, and my sister was in the hallway when I left my room to have dinner with them. She tried to corner me, saying I ruined her holiday because now it was no different for her than being at home because she had to control her children. I called it nonsense because my parents helped her a lot, and then I told her I was tired of being her scapegoat, and it was all over, so leave me alone and continue your own life. Then I started walking, and she shouted behind me, "Trying to talk to you." I told her I didn't care and was going to dinner. She followed me to the elevator, and we didn't say anything to each other. I didn't keep silent. I told my parents and brother-in-law that my sister followed me and found my room. She was scolded like a child. She held a pity party. I told her to stop exploiting it and grow up. The old days when she could force me to do anything were over. Then I walked out of the hall, got into my car. This time I was the first to arrive at dinner, and when the others arrived, my sister looked depressed, but didn't mention what happened before, which was fine with me. My sister didn't contact me at all that night, and this time I didn't care about taking the elevator with the others. I told them straight out not to knock on my door unless it's an emergency. There is a reason I hung the "Do Not Disturb" sign. The last day went smoothly, and my sister or mother didn't bother me at all. They had completely surrendered at this point. Yes, during the holiday, I did play with my nephews a little. I'm not a complete jerk. I didn't stop them. I continued to be a fun uncle, not a babysitting uncle. The children didn't seem to care at all. They just wanted to play. I even bought everyone a small bag of crystals and polished stones as souvenirs to take home. There was a little bit of drama between my sister and her husband, but it was just some minor disagreements, and I didn't need to pay attention. Overall, I would call this holiday a victory because it finally made my mother and sister realize that their old way of dealing with me is over, and I have my own life. Update 4, my mother and sister saw my last post, and they really don't know when to let things go. Hey, mom, hey, sister, I warned you, if you don't stop, I will come back to Reddit, here. The short version of the story is that my mother and sister saw my last post and went crazy. My sister stalked my account for a few days because she knew I would post. What did she expect? That I would say everyone had a good time? She called me, crying that I made her look like a bad mother. I finally replied, if the glass slipper fits. My sister and I argued a bit, but I asked her to point out any lies in the post. She tried a few times, but I pointed out every detail was accurate. So what did she do? She called mom, and then my mother showed up at my door, asking me to delete all the posts. I told her no, now I have ammunition to post another one. I finally made her leave crying. I later had a conversation with my parents over the phone and frankly told them that their indulgence of my sister led to the previous family dynamics. I will never go back to the way things were. So, if they still have any hope, I will forever strangle it. My parents then told my sister, for God's sake, stop blaming me and leave me alone. They can't take the pressure of my counterattack anymore. My sister had a literal, no one loves me, pity party, and my parents had to bring her back to reality. My brother-in-law hasn't called yet, and I'm sure he stays neutral, but it's probably not good for his marriage or my family connection with him. So out of respect for my brother-in-law, I'm sorry, man, but your wife just pushed me too far. For now, my parents insist that my sister get counseling because she can't be a mom and her old habits at the same time. Woman, buck up, as they say. Anyway, I hope this is my last post. You heard that, sister? If you don't stop thinking I should be your personal slave, babysitter, watchdog, etc., and want to continue acting like the whole world is against you because you can't dominate me, then we can't get along. Maybe we can get along and put all this behind us if you want to. Don't give me a reason to write any other Reddit posts about you, here I will only post about me and the treatment I received from people. Treat me like a decent human being, and it will all end. Understand? Update, my parents and I had a long talk, they apologized, and for now, we agree that I will keep a certain distance until Thanksgiving. Last night, I had a man-to-man talk with my brother-in-law, drinking some cold beer. He told my sister she needs counseling, otherwise he will leave her, and they are looking for a counselor for her. He also admitted that although my sister was very mean to me at home, she is a very lovely and likable wife. But she also admitted that she likes being an only child. There is an age gap of nearly 10 years between us, so my sister has held some resentment about this fact for a long time, and let it accumulate. She agreed that she does need counseling, and we will arrange it as soon as possible. They also found a qualified nanny to take care of my nephews. In addition, my brother-in-law did admit that he was angry with me, but did not intervene when I needed him the most, so we all agreed that this was a very bad situation that needed to end. So let's let it rest from now on. Finally, these posts have helped me get a girlfriend. The girl I like had a feeling after reading these posts, thinking it was me, just waiting for me to speak, and we will go on our first date tonight. So I want to thank everyone here, you have given me great support, I really needed it.